Okay.
My friend, hold on all the way. It is bound to stay home one day. Life is just a playground full of good and evil. Burning like some fire made.
Okay.
Okay.
We can go. Go
Okay.
ahead. So cheers.
Cheers, okay, yeah.
So starting from your first words, tell me. So how you get into the Beatles?
Well, it's like in the early 60s. I was part of a public relations company called Mayfair Public Relations, and Brian Epstein was one of our clients. So then, when that happened, then wasn't long before I was sitting in the Bag of Nails, which is a very famous discotheque in the 60s in London, and John Lennon came in and took me away from my table in the middle of the night, down to his house in Weybridge, and so that's how the relationship sort of started. And then my wife made a jacket for George Harrison and some dresses for Patty Boyd, his wife, and then it's then from there it went to All You Need Is Love. All the costumes for All You Need Is Love, which was the first major Telstar thing ever, as far as I remember. And then the Magical Mystery Tour also, we had also some costumes for that. And yes, and then there was the Cream and all the costumes and guitars, and Procol Harum, their costumes, and Donovan, and wow, yes, and then the Apple Boutique for the Beatles.
Yes, that's yeah.
So which was a major effort, and then that was all just getting on the road when Brian Epstein died.
Yeah.
Yes, and all his assets were frozen overnight, and so that kind of just set the works down more or less. So we couldn't really do anything about anything anymore. And then Irving B. Green, who was the president of Mercury Records, arrived in London, and Lou Reisner, who was the head of Mercury in London at that time, who also did Tommy. And then it was like, well, you're my family, and you all have to come to America. And so then he put us on the SS Rotterdam with our Bentley in the bottom, and we left for America because there wasn't much else we could do really at that time. So then we arrived in New York, and then we made our album there, the first full album, which was produced by Graham Nash, and in Bell Sound, and then Crosby, Stills and Nash were doing their demos for their album, and so was Jimi Hendrix. So we sort of swapped times with each other. And then when that was done, then we drove to California, across America, to Hollywood, and then we took up residence there. And then we painted the Aquarius Theatre where Hare was playing, and met Michael Butler, who was the world producer of Hare. And then the Mamas and the Poppers, and we made costumes for Mama Cass and Linda Ronstadt and Earth, Wind and Fire. And I mean, there's an endless list really. And then we had a shop in Hollywood also called The Chariot, where a lot of our stars came there. Ryan O'Neal and the daughter of Debbie Reynolds, who later became the princess in Star Wars. And then we made her wedding dress. But she bought my wife's wedding dress for her wedding, and and then that's most of the story. And then we used to make clothes for Susie Cream's Evening's boutique in Las Vegas, and Elvis used to come and buy a shirt or two, and And then, yes, that was more or less the period in America. And then we painted people's houses, their bedrooms, or whatever they wanted. And when people came to the chariot, they could say, well, I want a bit of this and a bit of that. And if they didn't want clothes, then they could have a table or a wardrobe or yes, whatever they wanted, really. And we used to print our own fabrics on silk. And we had a couple of fashion lines while we were in Hollywood. Making like the first one was like exclusive production, which sold out, and then we did a more mass market thing, like on t-shirt cotton, and then yeah, so then everything kept building up like that, but then the manufacturers bank wanted more percentage of our company than we wanted to give up, so then we shut the whole thing down and went back to doing things by appointment. Yeah. And then, in '76 we came back to London, and we were 1 year in London. And then one night at Christmas I met a rather rich boy from Spain at the Christmas party, and then he wanted to do David Bowie in the Bullring in Ibiza. So, but David Bowie wasn't available because he was making that film with Amanda Carter. And so then, how about Eric Clapton? I said, yeah, oh, okay, that would be all right as well. So then I went to see Eric at his house, and he poked the fire a bit, you know, had a big fire, a long fireplace, and so he said, all right then, he said, you know, I can't take my dog to Switzerland, he said, so you've got a deal, he said, yeah, so then I had to make a deal with the management. So Eric Clapton was the first superstar to come to Ibiza that played in the Bullring, and then more or less every summer, then Bob Marley came, and but that was part of the Exodus tour, yeah. And then we had Thin Lizzy, and we had Eddie Grant and UB40, and yeah, that was the Ibiza period. And then after that I came here. Yes, I've been here ever since. Then unfortunately my wife passed away here, and yeah. So then I had to spend, all the children were quite small then, so it took quite a while to bring them all up, and now the daughters are displaces in memory of their mother, and they're following in her footsteps, and it's a combination of their work and our work, and yes.
That's great.
Yes. So that's about it in a nutshell, a quick thing anyway. Yeah.
Let's have a stop.